Okay, so what has Barack Obama done for us exactly? Many people think that he hasn't done a lot, but whether they realize it or not, he's actually done many things that have changed our country for the better. He has helped with Cuba, and he has helped with the health of our society through social policies. There are, of course, a lot more reasons, but right now I'm just going to talk about those two. So the embargo on Cuba was put into effect about 56 years ago. And since December 2014, Barack Obama has been working to improve the relations between both countries. According to him, the Cuban embargo was failing to promote democracy, which is one of the reasons why it was put into effect in the first place. You see, after the Cuban Revolution and the fall of Fulgencio Batista, Fidel Castro was made the leader because he led the revolution against Batista. Soon after, Castro decided to state that the U.S.'s tourist places that we had put in Cuba were Cuban. So we separated, not just because we would have lost a lot of money, but because we wanted to try and change their government by putting them through, I guess you could say, a state of poverty in a way. But nothing changed, because today the leader, Raul Castro, is still a dictator. But things have actually begun to warm up because of what Obama did. Like, for example, the Cuban embassies have reopened in Havana and Washington, where they were previously closed specifically to Cuba. And Barack Obama specifically said that if we want to recognize that the Cold War is over, then we have to lift the embargo. And he's actually been working on it a lot. But there's only so much that he can do as a president. And now, since Obama has laid out that stepping stone for Cuba, it's up to Congress to decide whether or not it should be lifted. For my second point, I want to talk about social policies. Social policies like the Cuban embargo, because social policies aren't just domestic policies, which basically means policies that are made for within the nation, but there are also foreign policies, as I said before, just like the Cuban embargo. And just like the Cuban embargo, there have been a couple of foreign policies that have been put into effect. But Obama didn't put the Cuban embargo into effect. But yes, as I said before, he is trying to stop it. Many people are going against that, mostly because they think that if we start to trade with Cuba again, we'll basically be giving power to them. But we can't, it does mean that, but we can't just think about the present. We have to think about the future. Because later on, Cubans could start coming here to visit and seeing what our government is like. And if they see what our government is like and go back, then they'll be able to see the difference between both governments. And that would help them become more aware of what's going on around us. Because then that could help promote our democracy, not just what the Cuban embargo did. And so there are going to be a lot of other presidents in other countries that we are going to disagree with. But without a president like Barack Obama, then there would be a slim chance to fix old feuds like he did. Thank you.
So I want to first talk about how the huge controversial topic, which is gay marriage. So Obama, he originally thought that there shouldn't be any gay marriage and that it should be banned because of his huge Christian beliefs and that only a man should be with a woman. But he now has changed his claims, saying that he now supports it. And that, I think, is a huge major reason because he wants our country to be more at peace and to be it'll be more peace, so it'll be less riots and stuff. So if he cannot keep a firm opinion on it, then how can we trust him on talking about discussing life-threatening situations on something that can be life-threatening?
Obama is trying to appeal to the nation, and he's trying to make the nation better, and he's trying to help the majority of people. So by changing his mind, he's helped millions of people. So it's not that he's indecisive, it's that he's just trying to help.
But it's going to also cause riots for some people who don't believe in gay marriage. Alright, so the unemployment. So the unemployment rate is at 5.0. Yes.
Okay, so although people may not agree with same-sex marriage, President Barack Obama made it really clear that we should treat people with the equal rights and treat people fairly.
Okay. So the unemployment rate. So it's at 5.0, which means that 1 out of 20 people who are eligible for a job cannot get a job. And so, and the new system follows is that it only counts for people who are actively looking for a job, not for those who have already given up. So more people are actually clueless on actually the real amount of how many people do not have jobs and who are actually not like actively looking for it, but still want a job. And the income cost for this is that some people are trying to cheat the system, so because for the new system, which I'm going to talk about later, it's really expensive to pay for like income and taxes if you're married. So what they're going to do is that,
First of all, going back to unemployment rate, when Barack Obama became president in 2008, the unemployment rate had hit the highest it's ever been, above 10%, and now it's at 5%. I mean, he's helped, 5% of the nation is a lot of people he's helped get jobs.
it's still 5.0, which means 1 out of 20 people, and that's still a lot.
But that means he also gave that many 1 out of 20 people jobs.
Okay, so I'm not going to talk about I'm going to talk about the Iran nuclear deal. So President Obama has told America that Iran has promised that they will not attack us first. Wait, other way down. So he's told us that America's not going to attack Iran until they've attacked us first, and that they are not building a nuclear bomb, which some Americans have been starting to suspect. And so what he's technically saying is that he's making this weak message on saying that America isn't really scared on the other nations' superpowers, like if they're going to make a nuclear bomb and stuff. And there's no consequences listed in this deal that both countries have agreed will happen. And he said himself that if the deal is rejected, that it will not stop us from firing a nuclear bomb at Iran or them at us. And finally, Obamacare. So, Obamacare.
Time.
Okay.
All right, the second speaker concludes.